Biafra, superstars, media.
My people, my Biafran people, how on a day? No time for introduction in this one. I've got no time for introduction. I want us to listen to the man they call Goodluck Jonathan, who was once the president of that zoo called Nigeria. Today, I will lay down that the beginning of the problem came on the desk. The origin started from the desk of this man. He saw the problem in Nigeria and he refused to act on it. But today, he's speaking a new language. So if you're ready, let us hear what is said over and over again. Then I'll come and remind this man the actions he should have taken. If you're ready, let's go there. Listen.
And I looked at the topic, Igbo quest for Nigeria's unity. And I looked at the topic, Igbo quest for Nigeria's unity.
Listen.
And I looked at the topic, Igbo quest for Nigeria's unity.
Listen.
These are things that agitate my mind. I started thinking about how we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this will help us to have a conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought four, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement, Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region.
Listen.
The second one, and I quote, it is true that we politicians always delight in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria.
Take it back. Listen again.
And I looked at the topic, Igbo quest for Nigeria's unity.
Again.
And I looked at the topic, Igbo quest for Nigeria's unity. And I looked at the topic, Igbo quest for Nigeria's unity. These are things that agitate my mind. I started thinking about how we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria.
Hold it there. At first, it came to his mind, it's been bothering him about the Nigerian unity. The Igbo quest for the Nigerian unity, because in most cases, they try to blame us, the Igbos, that is, those ones they call the so-called Southeast, the so-called 5 states. From the eastern region, we've been divided into the so-called 5 states. And even now they are trying to split it up more to make it 6 or 7 or whatever they are saying. It's been something that's been bothering him for a long time, he said. So I want you all to know that the issue doesn't come from we, the Biafrans, or in this case, the Igbos, as he said. The issue has not been us. The quest for Nigerian lineage. This was something we were doing way back. We've been speaking about this. IPOB came or was formed in 2012 while Goodluck Jonathan was president. And this has been the topic. This has been on his desk. Nnamdi came with unity. But unfortunately, Goodluck Jonathan could not carry it out. But today he's saying it is something bothering him. Let's continue.
And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders.
Okay.
And I feel that probably this will help us to have a conversation on the Nigerian unity.
Okay, now he has done a reflection in hindsight, about the so-called quotations by their leaders, their past leaders. And he's hoping that what he's about to quote now might perhaps create a form of mutual understanding and sentiments in the room that will make them see the need for unity in that so-called Nigeria. Mind you, this man was in power. He was a vice president under Yadwa and also became a president. Let's continue.
Just brought forth, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement, Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region. The second one, and I quote, it is true that we politicians always delight in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria.
There you go. Hold it there with all due respect. These are all the so-called leaders out there. He said, and I quote, Nigeria is not a nation. It is just a geographical expression. There are no Nigerians, as you have in English, Welsh, or French. And also the word Nigerian is just a way of distinguishing those that live in that Niger area. Simon Ekpa always used the word Niger area, and we must respect him for emphasizing that word or those words, Niger area. There is nothing called Nigeria. Nigeria was just an expression by a lady who came to visit the man they call Lord Lugard. During those days, every 3 months, they have a new concubine that comes around from Europe, from Britain to Africa. To see those who they call the lords over Africa. The lord and masters. And when Flora Shaw came, a lady who said she was an aspiring journalist, she loved to stay around the beach area where you have the river or whatever. And in a way of showboating, Lugard asked Flora Shaw, because he was trying to, entice her. He asked her, I'm trying to name this contraption. I want to give you the privilege of coming up with a name to name these people. These are our subjects here. Because back then, it was just, a company, the Royal Niger Company and the rest of them. And because of her love for the seaside, even till this day, in the Western world, during the summertime, they want to go towards the beach, they want to go towards the sea, play by this, this. That's who they are. That's their culture. For the love she had for the seaside, she kind of suggested a very strange name, an awkward name. She said, why don't we name it after the river Niger, I love it around the seaside. So why don't we call these people, these subjects of ours, these slaves, why don't we call them those living in the Niger area, the blacks, the N-word living in the Niger area. So through that way, for the fact these black people here, they live in the Niger area, close to the river Niger. Why don't we call them Niger area? That was the name they gave to you guys. But during those days, there was this competition that was taking place because the other European countries, they were also, they were spying, look at what is going on, observing. And over time, Niger area became Nigeria, because when the other countries in Europe pronounced it, they called it Nigeria. Because Niger in English, or whatever you want to call it, the Spanish will call it a different way, the Portuguese will pronounce it in a different way. So Niger area became Nigeria. And over time, Nigeria is now what you call Nigeria. There is no language, no native tongue, no mother tongue, no local language can claim Nigeria in that contraption they call Nigeria. There is no tribe that can say Nigeria or can translate or transcribe what Nigeria means. Nobody can decipher the meaning of Nigeria. So he's right when he said, there was no nation called Nigeria during those time or those days. You were just subjects. Because Britain came, first of all, to enslave you. And they came back to colonize you. But some of you, you only remember the colonization part of things. You've forgotten about the slavery that took place. I say all that to say this. Yes, we have heard from Goodluck Jonathan. But my problem with this man is this. While you were at the helm of affairs, while you were the president of Nigeria, you saw this coming. You saw the coming of Boko Haram. You saw what the caliphate, they were planning against you. You saw how they went all the way gathering money to hire those from foreign countries. The border became porous. Your military men, they became nonchalant. You were no longer respected. And all you did was to go out there to get some mercenaries. You gave a pastor, I believe, some money to go and hire mercenaries and buy you guns. Because your military was already sabotaged. Good Lord Jonathan, all you could have done then was just simply tell the people. Tell us what was going on. You could have solved this problem. Now you are saying there is something called Nigeria, talking about the unity where there can never be any unity, but you had the opportunity to turn things around. You were there. You saw the coming of headsmen. Why didn't you call all the elders from all the different tribes and tell them what was to come? Not you going in your bedroom telling your wife the situation, and in public she came out crying like a baby, screaming, there is God, oh, there is God, oh, there is God, oh, there is God, oh. She's crying and calling on Jesus, calling on God, something that man can deal with. Affairs of men, your wife was calling out God and Jesus. So with all due respect, sir, I understand you are trying to learn from your mistake or make some amends. But this problem started from you because you saw it coming. You were the president when the caliphate did what it did. When they went out to contract Boko Haram and the rest of them, what you did in your own part was to go and get some contractors. Selfishness and greed. You could have just told the people. At least during that time, there was an Nnamdi Kanu who was fighting for his people. What stopped you from telling us the plans of the caliphate to Islamize that thing called Nigeria? That could have solved the whole problem, with all due respect. So you now speaking now, it's more like medicine after death. I put the blame on you. Goodluck Jonathan, I put the blame on you. I understand you were pressed by Barack Obama to quit at the time when the voting and the polls were still being counted. You were forced out by the caliphate and their stooges. But all you could have done was to stand firm and let all the stakeholders know what was to come. Because since you left power, our people have been going through hell. Since you left power, the land of Biafra has been bleeding. So you coming and saying, Nigeria is not a nation. There was nothing called Nigeria 60 years ago and all that stuff. We hear you. But the question is, what did you do about it when you saw those coming to oust you out of office? They were coming with the caliphate. They were coming with their headsmen, Boko Haram. What did you do about it? That's the question. And that should be something that should bother you throughout your time in this world. Because of your action, millions of Biafrans, millions of people have died. Due to your actions, those living in the Middle Belt, they've lost their ancestral home. They are now living in IDP camps. Because of your action, the Christians living in the North, they've been displaced. Because of your action, even the Yorubas in the Southwest, they've been having this fraction with the headsmen and the rest of them. So I put this blame on you because you saw it coming, but you chose to be a coward. You chose not to raise the alarm. You chose not to speak to the critical stakeholders. Those that have the pillar of this thing called Nigeria during then. As I was told, Nigeria was standing on a tripod, Wazobia. That was what we were told as kids. But you chose to keep it to yourself. You went home and told your wife, and she couldn't hold it. And she was screaming, "There is God, though. There is God, though. There is God, though. There is God, though. There is God, though." You called on the name of God at a time when men should have handled their business. You had a problem. It came from you because you saw it coming from a mile away, but you refused to speak about it. Today, because of your action, our leader, Nnamdi Kanu, is now in the hands of the enemy. Because of your action, a man who rose up, a man in the name of Simon Ekpa, who chose to rise up, who chose to rise as a man and do what men do, something you couldn't do. Something you couldn't do. Today, the Nigerians we are trying to save, the Biafrans we are trying to save, they are now the ones trying to crucify the person who is out there trying to do what men should do to protect their motherland. Goodluck Jonathan, thanks but no thanks. Thanks but no thanks. You've cried too late. The ship has already set sail. So you crying wolf now is already too late. Thanks but no thanks.
Continue. No problem. God will see us. There is God. There is God in everything we are doing. Those bloods that are sharing in Bronu will answer. Now the first lady is calling you. Come, I want to help you. Come to find your child, your missing child. Will you keep quiet? No. Child. There is God, oh. There is God, oh. The bloods we are sharing, there is God, oh. 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 There is God.
Please, can you change your camera?
Yeah, check me out. Superstars Media. Lord Lugard, Bloomington, Lord Lugard, and it's wild Flora show. 1914 amalgamation is what we dying for. 3 nations to 1 nation, ever since annihilation. Nepotism is nonsense. You and you, clap your hands. Biafra gonna come, clap your hands. Biafra, Oduduwa, we're free now. Freedom is gonna come, we're free now. Yeah.